Evening, Andy.
Yeah, good evening.
My name's Joel. We'll give Bruno a few more minutes to join, and then I'll get started with the intro.
Sure.
So there's Bruno.
Yeah. Hi.
So you usually
Hi,
how
good evening.
usually how we like to do this is Bruno and I can give you a little bit of background on ourselves, just to set the context for the interview a little bit. Um, then
Okay.
we can go through anything from your resume you'd like to talk about. We've both read through it beforehand. I have it up in front of me, as I'm sure Bruno does also. So there's no reason to go through it line by line. Um, then from
Okay.
there, I have some behavioral questions about time in your past that we'll discuss, just to kind of idea of how you work with the people around you, the teams around you, and some of your motivations on things. Then Bruno will lead you through a short coding assessment um, that we'll do through another system called code interviewing, uh,
Yeah.
just to get a better understanding of your technical skills there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Great.
So,
So, like I said, my name's Joel. Oh, so go ahead.
no, no, okay, cool, cool. Start. So, you guys will start first, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Uh, no problem.
Okay.
My name's Joel. I'm an engineering manager here at Fly Homes. I've been here
Okay.
for just over 5 months now, but
Okay.
I've been an engineering manager, director of engineering at a number of different startups over the last half a dozen years. Before that, I was a principal software engineer, senior software engineer, those sorts of things.
Okay.
I'm pretty well versed technically. I try to keep programming on the side, so like we can just speak like engineers. We'll get along just fine. Bruno.
Yeah, so I'm Bruno. I am a principal engineer in the Seattle office. I have been at FAANG for more than 3 years and a half. um, I joined when we were a fairly small startup with 20, 25 employees. We are now more than 500, 600. Um, but just want to emphasize that we are still pretty much in the engineering org, at least in startup culture where we are moving fast, um, tackling lots of different interesting and challenging technical challenge. Um, Especially right now, we are in the position of uh, doing business in all the states in the United States. We are only serving six right now, so we have a tenfold ahead of us, meaning that we have a huge scale ahead of us in terms of traffic, in terms of storage, and also in terms of, I would say, engineering processes and everything around. So, um, lots of that's an inflection. We are in an inflection point, so lots of very interesting engineering challenge ahead of us. I am I'm mostly a backend person, where I spend most of my time on the architecture and platform, and I'm right now working in the data team, which provide the data for all our platform. Yep, that's about me. Uh,
Okay. You guys are both from US or?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Cool. So, about me, I would like to tell that I started my career from 2016. Then I have like worked in three companies, and there were a couple of breaks in my career. And apart from that, currently in my current organization, I had been working since past about 1.5 year almost. So around 1 year 2 months to be exact. And so here I have worked on various things. So basically, this is a home solutions company where I'm working currently. So this company is basically deals with building mattresses, sofa, beds, and various other accessories. So from these things they deal with, and we basically take care of the logistics and the back end. And here I worked on like integration of implementation of like 70 new warehouses were implemented like about 8 months back. So that was done by me, and it was done in two phases. So I I was involved like in it extensively. I worked yeah, I integrated from end to end of for each of the warehouse, everything from dispatch to delivery for all the various uh, uh, inventory they like have. So yeah, so that was done by me. And apart from those things, I have written APIs. I haven't worked on the architectural and design side a lot, but yeah, I would say that I have worked primarily on like building APIs, writing is doing network calls over the system through the system and like fetch meaningful data and everything, so, and do processing based on that. And I've also built like email alerting system, then drive upload features I have done, where like automatically various sheets are generated, and based on a lot of data sets are fetched from the system, which are like entered through scanning or many other modes of input is there. So every data is entered into the DB, and I fetch those means I've written code which I fetch those things, and build Excel out of it, and then upload it in yeah, drive, Google Drive, or send email to specific person or specific groups. So yeah, these things have been I have been doing since like the past year or so. And
Great.
yeah, and the technology stack which I've been working primarily is Python and Django. Okay, so for the coding assignment, I would think the problem solving thing, I would like to like if you guys allow me to use Python, that
Sure.
would be great. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, you can choose whatever language you want to
Yeah,
do it in.
yeah,
It's totally flexible to that, so
cool,
that won't be a big problem.
cool.
Uh, Great. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions
Hmm.
about times in your past. I'm looking for specific scenarios or specific times in your past that
Hmm.
you could explain to us. And
Okay.
I'll ask follow-up questions where I have them. So could you tell me about a time you improved a process on a team you've worked on?
Improvement of
And by
process.
process, I'm looking for like, yeah, like how you're working. So not like the functionality you're doing, but like how you're working and how you're working on your team or working with product, those sorts of things.
So yeah, I have I have means usually like 2 times or 3 times in a month we go on like on call. Okay, so in on call we usually get like we try get to deal with few customer queries which where the system goes wrong or something anything wrong goes anything goes down or any mistake happens by say any sales guy or like any warehouse guy or whoever is responsible, so it comes to us, so we try to, so I have improved the scanning system, I would say. That one I did once. Like it wasn't a big a sort of thing, but coding wise I wrote like 100 200 lines for it. And uh,
So I'm actually looking for something that doesn't involve functionality. So like how you work with other people. So improving the process around how you get work, or like I'm not looking for a feature you've implemented.
okay.
I'm looking about the way you work and the way you work with people around you and how you are working to improve that system.
So basically, whenever any task is given to me or to my team or couple of people involved in it, so basically I try to do my part in it, and then I uh, ask for feedbacks from my colleagues about how things are, and how they look into it or anything. Means a couple of guys are like 3 years who have been working in this company for like 3 years or more, so they know the system much better than me. Okay, so they could suggest me that yeah, these things you can do it differently, or this feature you're missing, or Yeah, means functionality wise, I'm saying that uh, this is how I try to work with people around me when we are working on a
Okay.
group project or something like that.
Okay. Great. Could you give me an example of a time you went the extra mile for a customer?
Like one guy was unable to log into his account actually, because his email ID was wrong. Something like whatever email ID you put now, so that in the databases the email ID which he had mentioned while registering, that was the wrong one. And in our system, I think there was no internal checking done at the front end that whether the given email ID is right or wrong. So something sort of that was there. So because of which it wasn't detected at that time, and it got inserted into the DB. And then finally he was unable to. Now when he was entering the email ID, that was like the correct one, which but in while registering time he had entered a wrong one. So that is why he was unable to log in. So that issue was it's not a big issue, but yeah, initially I don't know these oh miss these are stored in a specific miss I thought they are stored in normal different table, something sort of thing, but it was stored in a miss Django specific table. Miss the framework I use is Python and Django. Miss Django framework of Python. So basically in that what happens uh, means authentication. For authentication there is special auth tables provided by Django. So those things I didn't know about Django. So at the same day I learned all these things. Means I was new to Django that time, so I learned all these things and I figured out lot of it without taking much help. Means I'd say I would worked like extra hours learning Django and understanding this, and then finally figuring out that where the mistake was, and finally I found the table, and then I wrote the query and asked the DevOps guys to update it, and then finally it was done. But yeah, initially it took me time, so that is the thing I would say. For that one customer, I worked like 4 5 5 hours that day. Actually, I was investigating learning Django that day. Yeah.
Great. And how did this ticket get to you? How did you figure out that the customer
Yeah,
needed their
yeah.
email updated?
So
Here.
these tickets are assigned to, there are like customer executive teams are there, and CET teams, I would say CET teams are there. They say, so these are assigned to them, and then they ask the tech guys to resolve this. So that time I was new to this company, and I was also new to Django as well. Django I haven't worked before. Means I knew Python, but I didn't knew Django. So I was new to Django. Then that's how it came to me.
Okay. Uh, so I think you had said on this there was no validation on the front end for email address correctness.
Yeah,
Did you work with
yeah,
the team to get that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
functionality
yeah, yeah.
implemented?
Yeah, we talked. I talked to my manager actually about that. Then he suggested me to some front end guys, and then actually I told the testing people, and the QA team, like the QA team raised this bug for the front end. I think it has been resolved by now. I didn't check it again, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Long back it happened actually. When I was,
Yeah, yeah. I would assume this
yeah,
is two years ago plus. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Could you tell me about a time you had to make a challenging technical trade-off between two options that you had?
technical trade-offs. So I haven't faced any such issue in my, like, till now. Miss, uh, what I'd say, designing point of view you're asking, or like implementation point.
Sure. Either of those are fine.
So design things I haven't done till now. And
Okay.
technical trade-off, so yeah, I can say uh, like uh, it was, I think, in 2017. I think, yeah, 2017. I think I got few projects related to improving the. We had a couple of affiliate websites actually, and my first company. So it was like media.net. I don't know whether you know this company or not. So media.net, I was working there.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. No problem. So there was working. So in media.net, there I got an opportunity to uh, miss the there this we had to improve this website based on a couple of things where they're missing here and there. So sorry. So we had to improve the means the API calls and functioning. So for that, Cake PHP was not working well. Means the website was built on PHP, so it was yeah, we were using Cake PHP framework, but so I suggested that we can go for Laravel, or like Code Igniter is also there. So we were like testing out few things, but finally we ended up with Cake PHP only. So it wasn't means we were I got a chance to investigate and uh, compare few frameworks, how they work. So that opportunity I got, but we couldn't finalize things up because things were becoming very much complicated actually. So, and I was also not so much experienced to like suggest on these things. So that's one opportunity I got
Uh,
to choose between multiple technologies.
so
Yeah, tech.
yeah, so you had mentioned that you were trying to improve API
Yeah.
calls. What were you trying to improve about them?
So
Were you trying to improve the speed, latency?
uh, means there were multiple calls were happening. Uh, means when the load increases, na, so that time what happens? Means how would I say? Speed was also an issue, and means when the load increases, when those websites were usually running in US and Canada and European countries. So that time around they reaches traffic around means million people. So million people are like hitting those websites at the same time, and that time the API calls like yeah we means Cake PHP does provide that, but means after some extent, it couple of APIs get failed, and when means when scaling happens. Okay, so that is why it is not it maybe at that time it was buggy. It was a bug in Cake PHP maybe. I don't know exactly about that, but Laravel was way more tested and tried and tested framework. So that's why means the library which were used in Cake PHP weren't so properly written. That is why when scaling happens, some APIs were not working and the website used to go down. Means what happens? The click is means we also account everything. Okay, when when any person lands at the page, we count that as well through Google Analytics, and after a click happens, that is also counted. So the landing count was
Mhm.
way higher than the means landing page, and the next page for not only the click but means selection of the product. So that selection of the product thing was also way less than how much people were landing. Okay, and this
Sure.
percentage change was around when the traffic was 100K, then it was like 80% or 90%. But when it goes up to 1 million, then it drops down to 50%. So there is a huge drop. So
Okay.
this made us to think that Yeah, some API calls are being lost, and yeah, not only some, but a lot 30
Okay.
extra 30%. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you confirm that you were or weren't uh, causing errors in your API calls?
Uh,
Or how would you recommend doing that now based on the information that you have?
so like we can log everything in the backend for that website, whatever we have deployed in the server, we can log everything whether the API calls are like successful or not, and if there is any failure in it, then it log goes to a specific file, and
Great.
those things also, yeah, that was also there, and the drop was significant actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's fine. Could you tell me or describe a time when you were not able to achieve a goal that you set? What did you do?
mm, I like, yeah, it happens couple of time with me, but what I do usually is I uh, set new goals, and this time I like target less, becomes more realistic, and like if I procrastinate or like leisure, want some more leisure time, I like give myself that. Okay, because giving myself more space, like taking a good sleep, is more important actually sometimes. Okay, so yeah, that's how what I do usually. Means sometimes I think to finish a course in uh, like a week or so, or in 2 weeks I'll finish this course. I decide, but at the end of the second week I may end up watching like couple of like 4 or 5 lectures only. So that happens a lot with me, and but I don't give up. I keep
Okay.
on trying. I try to, yeah, give myself, yeah,
Okay. Well, that sounds great.
yeah.
That sounds great, Albert. Uh, I'm gonna let Bruno take over for the second part of this interview on the coding challenge, we'll say.
Sure,
Uh,
sure. You're mute, Bruno.
you're muted, Bruno. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm going to share uh, a link to our code interview online IDE. 1 second. All right, it's in the chat window. I give you some time to join. All right, cool. See that you're in. All right, so I choose Python. You mentioned that you are more comfortable with it. So, but feel free to change it, to change the language. So, what I would like you to work on today is designing LRU cache using only data structure available in Python. So what we mean is that we don't want to use any external components like the database, memory cache, like Redis or
So we
Memcache
can,
or anything. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Can I
we
start, Bruno? Hello.
just let me finish with the
Okay.
requirement before
Yeah.
you jump in, so that you have all
Yeah.
the all the
Okay.
information. Um, so we want this cache to work in memory for performance reasons. Um, the key on the value will be simple strings for this exercise to make it simpler. We have what's LRU cache, so we have a cache size limit that will be given um, when we initialize the cache. And because that's a LRU cache, we need to maintain the usage history, right? So that once we reach the maximum capacity of our cache, we can evict the oldest keys to make room for the new keys.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, and that's also recurrent.
Means when the size reach,
So the first thing is probably, yep. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
when the size reaches it, when the cache reaches its maximum size, at that time, suppose the max size is 5 elements. Okay, so when 5 elements, it has 5 elements, so it stays at that point, sa- same status. Now, when a new element comes, which is not there in the cache, then the oldest one is removed and it is insert. That's what it is done, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, that's correct. We remove the oldest one to make room for the new key that we want
okay.
to insert in our
And
cache.
initially, the cache
And so
initially it will be empty.
is it,
Initially it will be empty, right?
yes,
Okay.
initially exactly. Yeah, initially the cache is empty.
Okay.
And so the first thing that I would like you to do is first to think of an efficient solution. Try to find the most efficient solution for this implementation on the right data structure to use to achieve that. And once you have this design laid out, then we will move on to class object model on doing some part of the implementation.
Okay. And if that element is already in the cache, suppose if it is in the third position, okay, then it will move to the first position, and everything will be insert. Yeah. Correct.
Right. Yes. 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 Exactly. If an element, if a key in the cache is accessed again, then it becomes the most
Most
recently used.
recently used. Yeah.
Uh,
So okay.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So we can do achieve this using a doubly linked list. Very simple algorithm is there to achieve this. And one point head will point to the most recently used element, and the tail will point to the least recently used element. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you mean for maintaining the
Cache.
key usage history?
Yeah, key we will store. So
Okay.
key value we have to store, or only the key we have to store.
The key and the value. Yeah. I mean, in a cache, you have a key. You have a
Yeah,
key
yeah, only the
on the
key we
front.
want, na. So based on the key, then we will fetch the data. Means from the DB we can fetch the value, whatever. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Right. But so you mentioned the double linked list, and so when you are so if we search for a key in the cache, what would be the process to find out if we have the key in the cache or not?
So it will traverse through the from the head to tail. From
Okay. So what kind of perf- right? Okay. What kind of performance are you going to achieve with that in terms of time complexity?
So time complexity would be the size of the cache, big of n, and insertion means when a new element is uh, when a miss happens, in the cache, that time a new element is inserted, and that will be done in big of one time. And when a hit happens, so if the hit when a hit happens, then the rearrangement will take big of n.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Um, Is there a way that we could improve that? I think the target for cache, generally a cache is for one in every for insertion or um, lookup, especially for lookup. We want generally for a cache, but that's where we want to achieve maximum performance. Um, so uh, can you think of a better approach to so that we can achieve
The lookup can be done in
better
big of
lookup
lookup
performance?
performance should be big of one you're expecting, right?
Yeah, generally a cache achieves that on average. So that would be great if we can achieve O1 or at least something better than ON.
Okay.
ON,
Actually,
let's imagine
yeah.
if we have millions of keys.
Okay. So lookup, okay. When we are doing a lookup, that time big of one you want, right? So big of one, how is we have to do rearrangements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without rearrangement, it, Bruno. So
Okay.
without rearrangement, it won't be possible, right? Without doing rearrangement, how would we distinguish between the most recently and the least recently elements if we are not doing rearrangements? After uh, uh, this lookup is done in the cache, after a hit happens, is when we are searching for some element, and if we find that element in the cache, that time the rearrangement should happen, right, between all the elements.
The what do you the rearrangement?
Rearrangement.
Oh, the
Yeah,
rearrangement. Right. Okay, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't.
yeah.
Didn't get that. The rearrangement. Yes. Yeah. After a lookup, you need to rearrange in the way that you need to put the element that was accessed on top of the list.
So that is what I'm saying. So to do that rearrangement, it will take some time, right? We can't. Hmm?
I mean, your double linked list make it your double linked list idea make it constant time, right? Which is which is good. I think that's probably something that you can keep uh, in mind. You can keep that data structure because it seems to serve the purpose of maintaining the history in a constant time. No, I think what you need to need to solve is beside this is how to access the key in constant time, so that you don't have to go through the iterate through all the linked lists.
Access the key in constant time.
And mhm.
So we can maintain a hash map as well, parallelly to with a double A linked list. Both we will maintain.
Right. Yeah, Ash data structure provide you constant
Yeah.
time, constant lookup time on each session as well. Um, so all right, okay. So now you have two data structure, right?
So double A
Okay.
linked list and hash map.
Uh, how do yes? Uh, what do you? How do you? How you going to work with these two data structure?
So hash map I will use to store all the elements which are currently in the cache, right? And when an element is removed from the cache, then we'll pop that element from hash map also. And if a new element is inserted into the cache, then we will push it into the hash map as well.
Okay. Yes, that makes sense. And but how do you how do you link these two data structure, right? Because now you will see. So you are going. So if you add an element or if you access an element from your hash map,
Hmm.
then at the same time you need to update
Yeah.
the double
So,
link
but
list. So
accessing time becomes,
we need
yeah.
to.
Sorry.
Oh, no, go
So
ahead.
yeah,
Yeah, I was
the
just.
accessing time becomes big of one, but after the accessing happens, there will be rearrangement will be happening inside the double linked list. That won't be a part of that, right? That accessing time won't be affected by that. Affecting affect accessing time will be big of one only. Correct.
In the hash map, yes. Question is how do you link the hash map with your double linked list, with your
So
history, with your
I'm not
history
linking them.
document?
They are like they will be separate. Okay, they will be separate.
Oh no, yeah, I know, that's two different data structure. But you need to
Yeah, yeah. Can I
your
code it
your
up? Can I
cache.
code
You
it?
need
Yeah,
to
can I code
manage.
it up?
Uh, sure, but you can cut it up. But maybe it's. I mean, it might be better to have you know already in mind what how you are going to use both of them, so that you go to the right direction.
Okay. Is it?
Um, that would be my advice. But if you want to drop into the code, I'm not going to
No, no,
stop
no,
you.
no.
But
I'm just asking.
uh,
No, am I? So whatever I'm thinking,
yeah.
is it wrong or correct? That's what I'm asking.
I think this two data structure looks good to me. So I think that at least from my understanding, what is missing is how you are going to work with these
Okay,
two data structures.
that one I'll show you
So
in code.
they need.
How I'm using both of them. Yeah, that
Okay,
I will show you in code. Don't worry. Because explaining, I think it will take time. So
okay,
instead of that, I should.
okay. So I see what you are doing.
It looks
Before
good, right?
uh, you uh yeah. So but I have some questions here.
Okay.
So your search in the end, um, your search function, which is a lookup, uh, what would be the time complexity of a lookup? Know that you have implemented the this rearrange function.
Okay, yeah, correct. This complexity would increase actually. Yeah.
The time complexity
Yeah, asyncly
is
we can do. We
okay.
can do async, right? Over here. I don't know. In JavaScript, how we do async, right? So we will call this function and simultaneously we will return this as well. Hello?
Uh, yeah, you could probably do that, but it kind of puts a problem down the line because if you do it as async and you have another call coming while you are doing the rearrangement, what would happen? Right. It's going to be a lot more complex. Um, a lot more complex implementation because you will need to have some sort of synchronization. You will need to make sure that the rearrangement is not happening when you are getting a new lookup, or if it's happening, you will have to wait, and then eventually it will be still ON because if you have a lot of traffic, then look, um, the lookup will keep coming and will be keep being waiting for the rearrangement
Okay.
to complete.
Yeah, correct.
Uh, So yeah, so that's why I was trying to figure out. That's why I was asking you before. So how can you make these two data structure to work efficiently so that you avoid doing this full lookup on the linked list?
Sure. The rearrangement is happening. So this we have to take care of this, right? Because each time a call happens, rearrangement will happen, right? Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We are
and the,
yes.
and
Your
the
call will
second
come.
call
We
second call will be either benefited from that rearrangement or it will hamper means it will be lagged due to the rearrangement. The second call, right? Means either it will be good for that or bad for that for the second call. Correct? Means after the rearrangement, because
so
you are telling that, yeah, you
yes.
are telling me that when a rearrangement is happening at the same time multiple other call comes, so that will never happen, right? This is the basic, what to say, the thing, means the basic benefit of LRU. After each call the whole structure, the whole cache is restructured. Correct? Hello.
I'm not sure I completely follow you, but yes, I mean essentially after after each lookup or insertion,
Lookup
the history
each
will need
time
to
when a
be
lookup happens.
will need to be updated.
Yeah, whenever a lookup happens, either it is a hit or a miss. If it is a hit, then the rearrangement happens, and if it is a miss, then also a rearrangement happens. Correct?
True.
So
Yes.
after one lookup, the next lookup will come after the complete rearrangement is done. Then only the next lookup will happen. Na? How two lookups can happen with the same structure of uh, means this.
I mean, it depends. So if you if you consider that we are doing if we are using this cache without concurrency with just one thread, you are correct. There will be only one one call coming at a time. Uh, but still, but if we want to kind of productionize
So
this
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 that
cache,
that
there's no point on that of having just one thread using a cache.
okay.
Then there will be multiple access of the cache at the same time. Not, there's nothing such as same time, but that can be with multiple processor. But we will have concurrency problem on
So
having this rearrangement done in a separate thread. Is going to
so
be
you have to tell me that now you have to
the
no you
blocker.
have initially only you have to tell no
But even
this one I don't know. No. So this is what you are asking me to design a distributed LRU, right? Distributed LRU, right?
that would be my that would have been my follow-up question. But I can give you just an example. So say that we only have one thread
Okay.
running, and if you call search, I call search, and let's say that you spawn another thread or whatever, an asynchronous process to do the rearrangement.
Okay.
So it means that search is going to return immediately, right? And I can, in your calling thread, you can just call search immediately after that again, and then but your rearrangement is not going to be finished at that time, right? Because it's going to take a lot more time, especially if the cache is big. So even with one thread, then you are doing a lookup, a second lookup, while the rearrangement is still not complete. So you will need to have a mechanism to ensure that you are not trying to rearrange again while the previous rearrangement is running, right? Of course, you could queue up all the rearrangement. That's
Yeah,
fine,
we
but
can.
I mean,
Yeah, we can.
just moving down
Yeah,
the
we
chain.
can use a Kafka queue over here. Uh, okay. And this will be a simple call.
Yeah, we don't want to use anything. Okay. No, but
Means
yeah,
both.
the goal of the exercise is not to use any external data social. Using a Kafka queue is not going to solve the problem. It's going just to push the problem
Yeah, yeah.
away, but not going to.
Means what I'm saying, this rearrange function and this add function. Okay, these two things we can call asyncly, and we can push them in a queue. Okay, this this is what I'm saying. We will call these two asyncly in and push them in a queue, Kafka queue or whatever. Okay. Now we will simply return true or false. Okay, and we will add the value and we will rearrange the value. Now, uh, so we have to keep the cache size very small such that means multiple calls to that cache uh, means this rearrangement time and adding time will be way less than the multiple calls uh, to that cache. Okay, we have to keep the cache size so small.
Uh, but okay, but that would be a huge constraint on our cache. Okay, but just
No,
time check, and
usually
we are
cache size.
discussing and trying to find a
Yeah,
solution.
cache size is also like very less. Na 3 MB, 6 MB cache size is there in our uh, current laptops. What we have, any system which we use currently, the cache size is 3 MB or 6 MB, not more than that. correct?
Redis is gigabytes. Like when you run a Redis cache,
Okay, okay,
that's gigabytes in size. The LRU in your processor, in your L1 cache is megabytes in
yeah,
size. Like they are huge, and they're just getting bigger. Like if you look at a Xeon, you have 32 64 megabyte caches. If you were to implement an O of n lookup cache on something like that, you would orders of magnitude more processing time would be required uh, to solve that problem. But what Bruno is saying here, we actually have to move on.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because the time check, we run out of time. So
yeah, do you have any questions for us here? Not about this question, but like about fly homes in general.
oh, okay, uh, yeah, so okay, so yeah, Redis was pretty book cached. Okay, yeah, so nothing more, and mm,
Okay.
how means how's the work
Okay.
life balance in fly homes? Hello, hello.
it's I
Hello?
think from my point of view, it's good. There's no the work it works pretty well for me.
Okay.
As long as you are able to put some limits, you have to put some limits, especially if you are passionate about what you are doing. I love what we are doing here, so I love startups, and I can be very I can be very go over the board very easily. So it's just important to uh, get yourself some limits. But I don't think there's that's something that we really value at Fly Home. So there's no pressure. That's what I would say uh, from the management. Uh, to have an unbalance, and we do the opposite on telling everybody, all our employees, to already take care of this balance. But it's very important to be efficient in your work as well. And I think Flyhome is great with that, and offering lots of sometimes some days to make up for big work of achievement as well. Some days off. So. Uh, I think we are honestly pretty good from that
Okay,
perspective.
okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And Joel?
Great. Well, I think my answer would be the
Okay.
same. I have a lot of passion for the work that I
Okay.
do. I spend probably more time than I probably should on it. Um, but I've worked at startups my entire life. I'm here because I don't mind doing that. And there is reward to doing that in startups. And I encourage all of the people that work for me to find a balance that works for them. Um, I am of course going to talk to them if I see problems or if I think I see a problem, because I like their mental health and the amount of time that they're spending at work. Like I want that to fit into the time that they can spend on it. Um, I don't want people working large numbers of hours to get things done because the business thinks it's important. I want us to be communicating with the business and communicating with customers what we think we can do,
Okay.
and then meeting those goals.
Okay.
Uh,
And and I would like to tell about myself that this I'm not so good at design things. Okay, so don't judge me based only my design things. And like if I'm not eligible for like SD2, like then like for higher end SD1 you can take me. So because I'm also like interested in joining a early stage startup. So and like here
yeah,
teams are pretty much dynamic, so that's why fly homes like work. I like this company, so yeah. And so So judge me like multiple factors, not only the design thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, we evaluate every candidate that
Okay,
way.
okay,
That's why we do the interviews we
okay,
do.
okay.
Like neither Bruno or I can say
No, yeah, yeah.
independently,
And at
like,
this one, this thing, right, this big of and I was unable to like solve this because means I don't know much about it, but still was I was trying to say that
yeah,
less memory takes. But caching, yeah, Redis is there, which works on like gigabytes. Correct, you said it, pointed out, Joel. So yeah, so
yeah,
there are things I don't know that, and I definitely try to.
ab-
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
that's fine.
Well, I'm not faulting
yeah,
you
yeah.
at all for this
Uh,
implementation. Like, this is a perfectly fine
okay,
implementation. There's nothing wrong with what you've done
okay,
here. Um, it, 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 we use this as a tool to evaluate you and to try to figure out where your knowledge
okay.
lies. I don't think about this as like right or wrong answers. I think about like depth of knowledge and understanding where your skill levels are. That's what the interview
Right.
process is about.
Okay, okay, cool.
Exactly.
Okay, nice talking to you guys. You
All right.
both are from same location or different location? Like working from home right now or
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
okay. So where
Yeah, we I think we probably actually live like 5 kilometers apart,
okay.
probably. Probably.
Okay, okay, good.
Not everyone is actually in Seattle as close as Bruno and are to each other. Like
Okay.
I
Yeah.
manage some people in Southern California that are thousands of kilometers
Okay,
away.
okay.
So
So
yeah,
both of you guys are from Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, thank you guys. Have a good day. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Albert.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
Take care.